All right, now Kevin Mitnick is the world's most famous hacker. Once pursued by the FBI, he broke into the computer systems of major corporations just for the challenge.
After stints in jail, Mitnick turned his life around and these days helps individuals and businesses protect their data. Now the cybercrime expert is sharing his top tips with Sunrise. Kevin Mitnick was a teenage prankster growing up, always looking for his next rush. As he told National Geographic,
you get that adrenaline rush from the accomplishment of breaking into the system or finding a security hole or getting access to information you shouldn't have.
It was never about making money, so he didn't think he had a problem until hacking became an obsession.
Kevin Mitnick, probably the world's most notorious cyber thief. Mitnick broke into the computer systems of more than 35 major international corporations.
After eluding police for years, eventually the law caught up with him. Mitnick was arrested by the FBI in 1995 and spent 5 years in jail, including a year in solitary confinement. When he got out, he reinvented himself and is now a cybersecurity expert.
When ethical hacking started to exist and companies would use ethical hackers to test their security controls, I naturally fell into that. Kind of like Pablo Escobar becoming a pharmacist.
Well, Kevin Mitnick joins us now. Good morning to you. Now, most of us will be hacked at some stage in our lives simply because we can't see the warning signs. Phishing, huge problem here in Australia. Tell us about the red flags we should be looking out for.
Well, namely, it's who is sending you the email, who's it coming from. A lot of times only the partial name is displayed, so it's important to hover over that and look at the email, look at the domain. A lot of bad actors use what we call lookalike domains, so it looks like it's coming from an internal employee, but it's really coming from a bad actor on the outside. And it's important, when it looks like it's coming from the inside of the company, you have to think about, is this an email that I'd normally get? Is this in my normal course of business? And when it's coming from the outside, you have to give it more scrutiny and think about, is this part of my job responsibilities? Because a lot of times the bad actors will ask you to do things that are not within your job responsibilities, so that should be a red flag.
Okay. Kevin, what are your tips for passwords?
Never choose your own password. That's the worst idea possible. What you want to do is use a password manager. There's a couple of password managers on the market. One is called LastPass and 1Password. And you have to choose a master password to protect all your passwords. You only have to remember one. And I always tell people, use a sentence like I went to Byron Bay and swam in the water. So the sentence with all the proper punctuation and uppercasing the first letter, and it's going to be very unlikely a hacker is going to guess that password. And when you use a password manager, it automatically fills in the passwords for you, and it chooses random long passwords that don't make any sense. So that's the best thing to do. Use a password manager. Never choose your password on your own, because it doesn't work.
See, I've been getting emails on that LastPass, which I thought was a scam. But it's a Rigiditch password manager.
So,
okay.
Yeah, it could be.
But anyone can use LastPass, not just big corporations. An individual can put that on their Hotmail account.
On any account, and not just LastPass, you have 1Password out there. So you have a couple to choose from that are the big players in the market, or you can simply go into Google and look for password managers. I'm product agnostic, so it's not like I'm recommending a particular password manager.
Right.
I am recommending that people do use a password manager.
Okay, what about that two-stage authentication? Does that work?
It does to a degree. Sophisticated bad actors, even though you're using what we call two-step or two-factor authentication, could still fool you through a phishing attack. So there is definitely tradecraft that bad guys could use. One thing I recommend when it comes to using two-factor authentication is never use text messages or SMS from your mobile operator. Always use like Google Authenticator as an application on your phone. You can sometimes configure these sites where it'll actually do a push notification to your device, and you just say, yes, that's me. And a more higher security, I guess a better the best security out there is using what we call a YubiKey. So you have to have a little device that plugs into your USB port, and that's at the highest security level. That's only if you're working in finance or you want to protect your financial accounts.
All right.
Goodness. Kevin.
I've got a bit of work to do today.
So much to think about.
Sort it out.
It's all
Thank
frightening,
you.
isn't it?
Thanks for the tips.
Yeah.